In the not-too-distant future. Well, actually in the not-too-distant past, and the present? Well, somewhat, I guess, because time's all relative and shit. I've been a fan of the spacey comedy sci-fi masterpiece known as The Mystery Science Theater 3000. Oh, it was such a great show. It featured a human being who we could all relate to named Joel, a janitor, which caused me to instantly like him, being that I also make a living spraying Le Sawdust over Dookie, and a cast of two robots named Crow T. Robot and Tom Servo. The former wasn't really a crow, and the latter was a gumball machine. He had a mouth instead of those little doors that gumball machines usually have. I used to fantasize about sticking my manhood in his plastic mouth and filling him up with my man juices. Okay, you can calm down. I'm only kidding. Because I still do. Anyway, they'd go on adventures riffing on terribly cheap 1950s movies that weren't even seen as well done back in the day. Me? I funded a Kickstarter project for a MST3K revival. No, wait. It was an RPG Maker game based on the series. By a 12-year-old. Who would get sued if he made it. Yeah, but that was 5 years ago, and I haven't heard from him since. I gave him my entire life savings. Anyway, MST3K is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. It's just, there's one thing that many people did know, especially the die-hard MST fans, but it's become lost. Which is fitting because the shocking truth is that there is a lost episode of the show, featuring the two robots and ill-fated human with their snarky comments of humorous horror. A couple weeks ago, I briefly changed career paths and was hired to be a grocery store cashier. I felt like shit. The government wasn't giving me much money. Thanks a lot, Comrade Obama. I was only hired because of the amazing dances I used to do when I was a comedy actor on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might have heard of it. I reenacted those dances all over the meat aisle. One day I was miserably scanning food for a customer who looked like an angry, foul-mouthed German man. He complained to me that the prices wanted euros, despite the fact that he told me he lived in America for 50 freaking years. I told him this was part of his punishment for the horrors his people unleashed upon mankind. So he spray painted my work outfit with a swastika. The guy was so rude. I was almost ready to call the police, but when I turned around I felt his cold hand caressing my back and my neck, and when I turned back around, he handed me a present. Well, whoop-de-freaking-do! Happy holidays, and while I'm at it, oh, happy, happy, joy, joy. Like Pharrell, you're going to get sued by Mudvayne for saying happy, but who needs money anyway? I'm a janitor, baby. The present he ever so graciously left me with was a VHS tape copy with the Mystery Science Theater 3000 logo smeared all over it in feces, along with a fecal matter picture of Tom Servo and Crow T. Robot. I was in so much glee because not only did I love MST3K, but I felt like the guy was paying homage to my years of service as a custodial service worker. I giggled and hopped, and I left work early, riding my small scooter to my apartment so fast that I got ticketed. I asked the cop if the ticket was to a baseball game, and he told me, yeah, but it's your balls and I'm the Bambino, baby. Well, whatever. When I got home, I went to my TV, fixed the coax cables. Oh, it's funny, I used to call them coax cables, and turned on my VCR. All was well because I use my VCR every night so that I have a sound to drown out my tears as I cry myself to sleep. So, I got rewounding, assuming that nobody was kind to this tape. And as usual, I pushed the play button. When the intro began, it was the normal intro and song that I've always known and loved. Ever so promising. There was a blimp flying, which gave me an erection. And the usual MST3K theme was playing, which made me even harder. Fortunately, this is when things stopped being normal. I started getting flaccid. When we cut to the inside of the building, we saw Joel in a sad, sad state, looking like he was insulted or hurt or something. He didn't look at the camera, rather he looked down at his feet, and that's when it occurred to me that he was being tortured. Not by a movie, but quite literally tortured. Next we see a rocket ship, but it looked like a big black dildo that my girlfriend's known to strap on. I mean, it was probably inappropriate for TV, and I thought it was strange that there were so many phallic references all of a sudden, but whatever. It was Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I was horny. You might think that the tape would go back to normal now, but the theme song instead turned into a rendition of the hip-hop variety, as Joel was replaced by Fred Durst of the multi-platinum American rap rock sensation Limp Bizkit, and Tom and Crow were now seen with gold teeth and gold money chains while they dribbled basketball so fast that I could tell they had more game than I could ever hope to have. I was so confused, but hey, I like rap too, and especially Limp Bizkit. Plus there's stuff like MC Yella, MC Hammer, MC Ride, MC Donald, and even MC Mouse. My erection and music appreciation were sadly interrupted by the dildo rocket soaring, and then dropping faster than the speed of light as it crashed into the Twin Towers. What the fuck? That was when the theme song finally ended. I wished I had a towel or at least a fresh pair of undies, but I was too mesmerized by the tape to go clean up. The meat of the episode began with Tom muttering disappointment about something that was impossible to make out, and Crow just looked depressed. There was silence for 30 seconds as I just stared on and tried to squint around the Gaussian blur effect that the creators of the show had suddenly used. My heart skipped a beat when the next piece of action occurred. It was Joel! He was back, but he appeared with bloodshot eyes, and yeah, he did look disheveled, so shut the fuck up, you knew it was coming. And he screamed in agony for no apparent reason. This went on for a minute or two, and I was so scared that my man juices dropped all over my ottoman and Persian carpet, and I ran around and just shrieked in horror, butt-ass naked. After composing myself, convincing myself that all would be okay, I returned to watching this horrible television program. But what I saw, well, the scene cut to Dr. Foster and TV's Frank. They were smoking faggots and giggling while eating Cheetos and rubbing the orange crap into their bloodshot eyes. Now, you might think I'd be offended by the use of the word faggot, but thanks to foreign oddities, faggot means cigarette, so I was actually happy. Damn it! Now Mudvayne's going to sue me. Hey, faggot, said Dr. Foster, who for some odd reason sounded unusually like a redneck. Wanna watch tonight's movie? Nobody likes Droopy Dog? The scene cuts to Gypsy the robot being stabbed with a knife, and I was so scared. Tom, Crow, and Joel ran as fast as they could to the movie theater side of the ship, as if there was a fire or something. But then, like usual, a movie played. The movie that they were showing? Well, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Nobody Likes Droopy Dog, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Lost Droopy Dog episode. That didn't sound good. Instead of them riffing about the film, they just cried and cried and cried, and it all sounded very, very real. They weren't just acting, they were really crying. 3 minutes into the teary display of NLDD, the lost episode, the droopy one, we see Tom and Crow fighting, and Joel holding a gun, and he shot himself. Why? This was not the MST3K I knew and loved. I considered calling 911 and snuggling up with my teddy bear Chesterton. But then the video just stopped. I was shocked. I had no comment. This episode, what the fuck? Was that how MST3K ends? Or maybe it could be a satire. Still, what the flying fuck? I got so scared, I ejected the tape. I smashed it with a hammer while my mind played some angry death metal music from Biscuit, Cannibal, Limp Corpse, Stained. Then, assuming that this Lord-forsaken tape must have actually been the product of Satan himself, I poured water, jugs and jugs of it, right into the tapey part of the tape itself, and I grabbed a cross of Christ right off of my wall, and I screamed, "You demon! By the power of Jesus H. Christ, may the power of Christ compel you, you unholy sacrilegious shit!" I thought it was all over now. I had no more tears to cry. In space, no one can hear you scream. I put my head in my hands and dry wailed. I was ready to at least try to drift off to sleep. But then I heard a knock on the door. I checked to see if it was the police. I was worried, though I opened it anyway. Wouldn't you know it? It was the same German man from the store, except more sinister-like. He ripped off his shit-stained suspenders to reveal that all along, he was actually Joel from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 television program. I shrieked in terror yet again. I rushed to the telephone to call the police, but he threw a ninja star. Sorry, ninja swastika. And it landed right in the center of my hand. I was in severe pain. He tied me up to a chair, and he grabbed another VHS tape. A copy of Nobody Likes Droopy Dog. Instead of riffing, I was scared. I fell into a coma, and the last thing I heard and saw out of the corner of my eye was an angry German man giving the TV and Nobody Likes Droopy Dog, well, obviously, a Mystery Science Seeker! I'm here every week. Are you in? I have